Okie dokie. Thanks for joining, everybody. Welcome along. Here we are today to discuss water procurement for the public sector with our guest speakers, Water Plus. We've got Anne and Jonathan with us from Water Plus. My name is Jonny Walling. I'm Energy Manager here at Dukefield Energy, and I'm thrilled to be your host for this particular session. Cameras are off and mics are muted as well. We do have a bit of time at the end of the webinar for any questions to be asked. However, do feel free to use the chat option if there's any burning questions as we move through the slides. Water procurement is a topic that impacts communities, all establishments and the environment, whilst also playing a key role in net zero ambitions. Today, we will explore innovative strategies, best practices and key insights to ensure sustainable and efficient water procurement. This session will consist of a brief background into Dukefield Energy, covering our role in the utility sector and how we can help and support. This will then be followed by some very useful insight and advice from Water Plus on how to mitigate or even reduce costs. This session is being recorded as well, and the slides and recording will be available at a later date. So Dukefield Energy, who are we? We're part of the Dukefield Group. So the Dukefield Group consists of Dukefield Energy, Dukefield Print Solutions, Dukefield Food and Dukefield Procurement. They are the three sister companies that make up the Dukefield Group. So we have a wide range of services and solutions to aid the public sector, a wide range of frameworks that we have on offer. If anybody does have any questions or need for any other solutions that we might offer or want a free discovery chat with our business development manager, Claire, please do feel free to get in touch and I'm sure she'll be able to support. Dukefield Energy are a trusted energy partner to the public sector for over 25 years now. We are always open and honest with our advice. There's no pushy sales tactics to try and force sales. And we understand the public sector and that approval time, the process to gain approval for securing contracts may take some time. So we're not going to be on the phone hounding you every single day to secure a contract. Ultimately, we are here to support in whatever way you need us to, with various different reports on offer, an energy portal that's recently gone live, and any other ways we can support. We offer an all-encompassing suite of services from the beginning of utilities procurement, be it gas, electric or water, to other energy management solutions. As I mentioned, we have a customer portal. There's many bespoke reports that we have on offer. There's a free of charge bill validation service, right the way through to energy management consultancy. Our National Education, Utility Supply and Energy Management Framework is a compliant route to market for all public sector bodies, ranging from education, blue light and councils, and is nationwide as well. There are 4 lots on this framework. This particular webinar covers lot 3, which is the full title is the supply of metered and unmetered water, metered and unmetered wastewater, trade effluent services and ancillary services. The other 3 lots that form that framework are the provision of natural gas and the provision of half-hourly and non-half-hourly electricity and energy management solutions. As I say, if anyone does have any questions or require any support with any of that, our contact details are at the end of the slide. Now to hand over to Water Plus, and I would like to introduce our guest speakers, Anne and Jonathan. Anne and Jonathan both have a great deal of knowledge and experience in the water sector, and we are delighted to have them here to support and advise on our behalf. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonny. Right, I'm just going to try and take control of the slides. So hopefully everyone can see the slides. If not, please shout. Right, so that changed without me doing anything there. So what we're going to talk about today is it's going to split in 2. We're going to talk a little bit about the price increases that come into effect on the 1st of April. And then when I hand over to Anne, we are going to cover what you can do to mitigate some of those price increases. So hopefully you can now see a slide on the screen which sets out the wholesale charge for 2025-2026. And unless you are one of the very, very lucky people who are in the SES water area, you will see there are some very significant price increases. These price increases are levied by the water wholesalers. They have all been agreed with Ofwat. So Ofwat is involved, and this is part of a 5-year pricing strategy. And the aim is very much to increase and improve investment in water infrastructure. So the wholesale price increases this year are higher than we have seen in any of the preceding years. The numbers you see there are averages. Clearly, every water wholesaler has a wide range of tariffs covering water, wastewater, trade effluent, surface water, highways, drainage. So the numbers you see there are not absolute. They are averages across all of the tariffs. The less good news is that a number of the wholesalers that are on that list are actually appealing against the price increases because they requested higher pricing, and Ofwat has basically put a ceiling on the amount that they can increase the prices this year. Now, those appeals, when Ofwat hear them, and the timescale is within 6 months, they won't impact on the 2025-26 prices, but inevitably it will probably impact 26-27 prices. So whilst, and it does say on the slide there, whilst a number of the water wholesalers are front loading the price increases this year, we can expect to see equally challenging price rises in future years. So it's really important that if you want to manage and control the charges that you incur for water and wastewater, that you sort of take notes from sort of what Anne's going to explain in a few minutes, and then make sure that you are looking at water efficiency. The wholesalers who are appealing the price increases: Anglian Water, Northumbrian Water, South East, Southern, Thames and Wessex. So they are the ones where we might well see some movement. And you can see there, Southern Water, the wholesaler, is looking for a 50% price increase on average in the new financial year. So it is very, very significant. Let me just move on to the next slide. Just to give you some context, so Water Plus is a water retailer. We are one of a number of water retailers. If you look at that graphic in there, you can see the vast majority of the price on your bill, so the amount you pay on your bill, is made up of charges from the water wholesaler. So your retailer, it doesn't matter whether it's Water Plus or one of the many other retailers, we have no influence over the amount on your bill that is made up of wholesale charges. We have to pass those charges through, and as you can see, approximately a third of the bill is made up for clean water supply, just under 40% surface water, highways, drainage, over 20% is taking away wastewater. So what that means is your water retailer, depending on the contract, has between 2% and probably a maximum of 7% of your bill. So if any of you have never looked to enter into a contract with your water retailer, you will probably make a saving. It will be a relatively minor saving in the scheme of things, but when prices are going up by up to 50%, any saving you can make has to be better than not taking that saving. Switching retailers, as it says there, will not achieve better wholesaler charges. What it might do is give you the opportunity to make a small saving on the retail element of your contract. And that retail element covers things like meter reading, issuing the bills, collecting the payments, account management, etc. So that's the stark reality. Prices are going up by a very significant amount, so you do need to reflect that in your budgets and in managing expectations within your organisations. I'm now going to pass you across to Anne, and Anne is going to talk through some of the water efficiency savings and how you can make those savings.
Okay. I think I am now in charge. So that was the bad news. And yeah, the fact of the matter is, and prices are going up, but there are things that you can do to mitigate against that, and that's what we're going to look at now. There's two main things you can do. Now, Jonathan was talking about signing a contract. I'm guessing, quite a lot of you may have already done that or be in negotiations to do so. As public sector bodies, you're required to sign a contract and using a compliant framework. As Jonathan says, the contract will give you a discount, but we're talking single digit percentages here, guys. But what it also does give you is, if you choose the right supplier, it gives you access to additional services, advanced services, ancillary services, which is all of the places where you can make much more significant savings that will, in fact, make a dent in this price increase. So choosing the right supplier that's got access to all of these additional services, which we'll talk about in a wee bit, is absolutely crucial. And the saving there is significant, unlike what you'll get on a retail contract. So just wanted to talk a wee bit about what are here. I mean, we'll probably have procurement managers, finance managers, energy managers, sustainability managers on this call, and you'll be used to negotiating your gas and electricity contracts. What we tend to find is that water, runs in third place and sometimes goes unlooked at. The spend tends to be much less, but the fact is now that the prices are going up, hopefully that will compel more people to start looking at their water to make any kind of saving that they can. At every part of the water cycle, you use energy. When you use less water, you use less energy. There's an impact on each, and it's not that we have to do one or the other. Your water retailer can look at this irrespective of who your gas or electricity supplier is. Your water retailer can look at any issues you might have in anywhere where you can save some water. There's a lot of information in these slides, and I am going to zip through them, but as Jonny says, they'll all be made available to you. So please don't worry if you feel I've glossed over anything, and feel free to put questions back in if indeed you do have any. So again, just a wee bit more about water. We know that it's a scarce resource in the UK. Yes, we've had a wet winter, but there's not a limitless supply. You can get loads of statistics online about the water and the scarcity of it. Our population is growing, and the networks are failing. And Jonathan was saying in the beginning, these price rises, a lot of it is to do with the wholesalers now committing to investing in the networks to make them more future-proof. So yeah, if the rain does land on the island, but we don't keep it here. We don't keep enough of it here to treat it and clean it and provide it to you through the pipes. So that's where the investment in the network comes. And nobody's saying that we don't need to do it, and we do need to take this hit, but it is a pretty big hit. And, before, the motivation with saving water was for the good of the planet, or for is not having enough, hose pipe restrictions in the summer and all of those things. But that might have lacked traction and focus to get it to where it needs to be on the agenda. But now with these price increases coming, it's essential that we do focus on it, not just to reduce the amount of water that we use, but also to mitigate against this price increase that's coming. But all of that being said, it's not without its challenges, and I just wanted to let you know that we know the challenges that you might face. For me, the main three are lack of resource, whether it's people or finance, apathy, ignorance. People don't care if it doesn't affect them. They don't care within your business. They've got other targets and goals that they need to focus on, and people resource is finite, and they can't help you with that, and certainly budgets are finite as well. However, you do still tend to get your targets imposed on you, deliver these, but we're not giving you any more people, any more money, or people that actually within the business stakeholders that can care. So what it means for you out there, procurement managers, sustainability energy managers, it's your job then to educate, negotiate, coax people, compromise with people, and show them what's in it for them, in order to get on board with you achieving your targets. But in order to do that, you have to be in a position to understand what it is that you're asking them for, and that's where this can in. For me in life with anything, it's like, where am I now? Where do I want to be? How do I get there? And that's basically what this slide shows. A water audit's absolutely crucial in the beginning to say, you know, what have I got? What am I spending? What are my assets? Where can I potentially save any money? Our water audits will show you the as-is situation. This is what you've got at the moment. It will show you what we propose, the recommendations in order to get there. It will tell you your capital expenditure, your return on investment, so that you can then choose the quickest, best ways to make the biggest savings back into the business. And the last bit there is, you know, how are you doing? You have to constantly check in and see how you're getting on. We've got a cracking report that basically shows you the carbon equivalent of water, so that maybe if you start a new contract and we look at the amount of water you're using, the equivalent carbon is 1,000, and then you implement measures and 6 months later the equivalent carbon is 800, you can actually show a saving on carbon as well, which makes it meaningful for others within your business and for reporting both privately within the business and publicly as well. So the audit process. So with this, it's like you're thinking, right, okay, we'll sign a contract, we'll pick a supplier, we'll get a wee bit of saving in the contract. You're saying that there's more savings available. Is this all going to be worth the effort? So what we've done here is just put only 3 small examples of things that we've done with our customers in the recent past. A project of water audits alone, I think it was in the north of England, Jonathan, I'm not sure, and they identified an average of 36% savings. And if you look back at that first slide Jonathan showed you with the percentages there, even if you get some way towards that with a saving on your contract and a saving on through a water audit, reducing the amount of water that you use, it can make a significant impact to get you back to that kind of net zero position before the price increases happened. Meter reads absolutely crucial. You know, the more meter reads we have, the better our estimation logic is, the more accurate your bills are, you know, the less chance of bill shock, all of those things. And installing data loggers, absolutely awesome thing to do, and a targeted approach. And as you can see there for that, we saved over £4 million over 17 months just with a data logger programme. So just trying to tell you that absolutely it's worth the effort, but a lot of the effort that goes in here is not by yourselves, it's by your retailer, by your supplier, by partnering up with the right supplier. Sorry, my technical, just wait a minute guys. Okay. Okay. So those were just 3 examples of projects that we've completed in recent past to give you an idea of the savings that are available over and above a saving with a contract. But our value added services team, there's basically nothing that they can't do. So what I've put up here is just one size doesn't fit all when it comes to industry types and even within industry. So we would tend to speak to the public sector one I've highlighted in the middle, where you get the best benefit would be from benchmarking, putting loggers in. Historic bill validation can claw back some, you know, costs that you might have put out that you shouldn't have put out. So these are the things that we would focus on based on the type of industry and the buildings that you have and all those things. But there's nothing that we won't do, and if there's anything that's of interest to you, just ask us. Just say, well, such and that you, because I know that you guys all speak to each other within the public sector as well, and what we can do is present case studies so that it can give you peace of mind that, you know, if we've done something in the past and it's a similar sort of type to you, that it might work for you as well. So I just wanted to finish on the slide, basically giving you advice on choosing the right supplier when you're tendering. So these are things that you should take into consideration. And when you're tendering, include any targets, whether it be sustainability targets or cost reduction targets or water efficiency targets or consumption targets, include it in the tender so that up front we know what it is that you need or that you want. And if you don't know what you need or what you want, include in your tender that you want your supplier to work with you to form a water strategy, so that the people that are tendering for your business are well aware of what's going to be the requirement. understand, be realistic and understand that retail margins are tight. Revisit Jonathan's water drop slide where it shows you some between 2 and 7%. So the vast majority of the charges are wholesaler charges, nothing we can do about them. So be realistic about the margins that you're going to get on the contract saving, but be aware also that you've got access to all the value-added additional services where the more significant savings can be. Be flexible on what you're asking. When it comes to certain tenders, we can be asked for things that are unrealistic, which then rules us out. For example, if you're saying you need us to do something in a specific geographical area that we don't cover, you know, if it just doesn't work in that way. So be flexible in what you're asking with regards to CSR and sustainability requirements in your tender. You can choose a partner that understands funding available specifically, you know, within the public sector. The Public Sector Decarbonisation Scheme, February 2024, announced £1.17 billion worth of funding available to public sector bodies. Now, I'm not saying that your retailer needs to be an expert in everything or how to actually apply for these things, but it is important that we've got an awareness of what's available, specifically when we're talking to public sector bodies. If you can get some funding that goes some way towards paying for some of, you know, the additional services that you choose to put in, anything that mitigates this price increase is awesome. And the last thing is don't expect massive changes all at once. Small changes. If you focus on the small changes in the long run, you know, you'll see a difference. And this is all about tendering, but every single one of you at the minute do have a retailer, a water retailer who supplies reads your meters and supplies your bills. Sometimes tendering within the public sector, as Jonny said at the beginning, we understand that it can take a while and there's a lot of governance and there's a lot of approvals to get, and you know. But what I would say is that shouldn't delay you opening conversations either with your current retailer, or when it comes to additional services, you can speak to us direct through the Dukefield framework. We can speak to you about any additional services, you know, and give you any advice of what we think that might work for you. But don't delay. This increase is coming on the 1st of April. It's 2 weeks away. So don't delay starting your actions and making your plans. And this is the last slide for me. I'm leaving on a positive note. The increase is inevitable. If you sign a contract and you focus in the right places, you can mitigate against it, and in some cases potentially, you know, get back to we're in the same position as we were last year. So contact us, contact Dukefield, start the conversation and make plans to mitigate against this price increase today. And that's the last slide from me, Jonny, if you want to take back control.
I think the next one's very similar, just with a few points of contact for anyone that wishes to get in touch, I suppose. Yeah, I'll open the floor to any questions if there are any. But yeah, like I said earlier, the slides will be available as well as the recording in the next couple of days. I'll send a follow-up email to attendees as well, just to open the conversation if there's any questions that perhaps need to be asked after the webinar's finished. But yeah, if there's any questions, please feel free to ask now. Smashing. Assuming there's nothing else to ask, I'd like to again thank Anna and Jonathan for their time today. I hope everyone found that very useful. And as I said, the slides and recording will be sent out in the next couple of days. So any questions, please do feel free to respond to the email and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.